The Monday Night Football doubleheader bombs and NFL Week 3 recap edition of the Bottom Line Bombs on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code BOMBS to scoop up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Now, with that, we start the show because we are back in studio. I'm saying too many things because I didn't hit the theme song. Welcome to the Bottom Line Bobs. I'm your host, the Laddie Daddy, the Bet Detective, Scumbagger Vince, the man in the box. Yes, that's right. We are here live in Eagle Rock, California, 12:35, a couple minutes late here on Monday, September 23rd. Why do I say these times and dates like they mean anything? They mean something if you're listening live. If you're not, it doesn't matter because it's not the time when you're listening to it. That's the pod beauty, the podfather beauty. Anyway, but it's important for me because that's a routine I do. I have a routine where I start off with a strict, all right, time and date, like I'm a bank, outside of a bank, and then I wander off into whatever my stream of conscious goes to. It's a very, very rigid outline that I have here. But I do have, it's a big show today. I got, this is where I set up the show. This is the part right now. It's going to be a real meta episode. Like I said, there's 2 Monday Night Football games tonight. Doubleheader. This is the ESPN guinea pig experiment they put on us. Will you watch 2 at the same time? Why are they at the same time? Because we don't like you. Thank you. Why isn't it one game and then a West Coast game after? Why? Why not? Because they don't care. It's a money thing always. But there's 2 Monday Night Football games tonight. I'll detonate them. I'll get to them pretty soon. Very soon. We also have the Week 3 recap, the NFL Week 3 recap. We have I'll go through my contest picks, which actually did good, unfortunately, because I wanted the booby prize, but we went 4-1. I'll get to that later a bit. And then a man in the box segment, of course. It was a kind of a weird. Why did it was weird the way I just pronounced the word weird. Weird. It was an odd NFL week Sunday. It was kind of dull in the beginning. Although I watched one game, and that's what I stuck with. I watched an old-fashioned rabbit ears game. And it was good. I mean, I'll watch the other games throughout the week and get the recap, and I watch highlights later on, of course, so I could have a really detailed, thorough but for the first time in a while, I didn't watch multiple televisions in the God's eye and 20 games all at once. I just watched the Eagles-Saints game over at my sister's place in Culver City. We watched it with me and the dog, Odin, and, it was a great game. I did some swearing at Sirianni. I said some things about Italians that I had to take back in some of my group chat, my Italian friends back home, Eagle fans. I had to apologize later on because they're all Italian. And I've never been a good big Sirianni fan. I've always been on the right side of hate. I'll just talk a little personal Philly fan. I mean, his things he was doing yesterday were just insane. He just despises field goals. It doesn't even make sense when he goes for it. Like, I get it. I don't care if you go for it if it makes sense. To go for it on 4th and 1 when there's 10 seconds to go, what? Why? If you make it, now you have what? 1 play for a touchdown? It just he's an idiot. He's dumb. He's a dumb Italian. You know what? I don't take back that Italian stuff. I'm gonna text my Italian friends again. You know what? I take back my take back. You all Italians are dumb. You're dumb seamen. You sunk that yacht. You can't rent a boat. And then my friends are, well, what about Marco Polo? Okay, fair enough. But he had a crew full of Spaniards. Good slave drivers, those Italians. Not good seamen, that's for sure. But the Eagles pulled out the win. Great win. There was at one point where I'm like, I've never seen a team dominate like they did. And the Eagles dominated the Saints. And yet they were getting shut out. Saints were up 3-0 the entire game. Like, has a team ever dominated this game before and get shut out at the same time? Only Sirianni could do that. JC from KC joins the chat room. What's up, CJ? He says, what's up, JC? Glad to see you. JC from KC with his Royals hat on. That baseball AL wildcard race is something, huh? The Twins are falling apart. The Royals not so great either. And then the Tigers are look inevitable. It's incredible. That'll be a good last week of baseball coming up. Perfect time to tune into baseball. The last week of the season. Anyway, yeah. So then the Eagles did win the game. They pulled it out because 3 Saints D-backs ran into each other, and Sirianni afterwards still like thanking the fans, coming, just shut the fuck up. I didn't even like when Sirianni celebrated with Saquon Barkley. Like after Barkley got the touchdown, the awesome 70-yard run, he comes over like, yeah, like gets in this, get out of there, Sirianni. You don't get to enjoy this. You don't get to clap in for say you had nothing to do with that. Anyway, a lot of great shows here on SGPN. Let me tell you about that, of course. And then, and you like Doug Stanhope? Who doesn't? Brendan Walsh, Sean Green. They host a new podcast on the SGPN called Get to the Points. Every Thursday before the game, Doug, Brendan, and Sean give out their favorite plays and talk a ton of shit. Doug and Brendan are professional comedians. You may know them from the Joe Rogan podcast, the Howard Stern Show, and Comedy Central. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. There you go. Doug Stanhope. Can't beat that. He is a classic comics comic. I've opened up for stand-up a couple times. He's a great guy. Yarbo wants to know, did Jalen Carter get tossed? Jalen Carter did not get tossed. He had a great game, Jalen Carter. What you saw afterwards, Yarbo, was Jalen Carter barking at Tyrann Mathieu. Some old SEC. They were saying SEC. No, they were just talking shit. The Saints. It was a dirty game. It was a very lively game. There were some cheap shots. Devontae Smith got absolutely cheap shotted. It was insane how that wasn't a call, flag, or people should have been kicked out. It was crazy. I mean, I do actually put that on the refs because they didn't blow the whistle. He was like, one of those things where the forward momentum is stopped and the pile's pushing back like 20 yards. Like, just blow the whistle. And then some guy comes out of nowhere and just cracks him in the head from the back. And so Carter, once the Eagles were winning it, I wouldn't say sealed it with the interception. Carter was just talking all this shit. And then Big Dom had to pull him back. And Sirianni had to hold him back. I don't know why. Let him bark. Who cares? They're yelling on a field at fans, at players. Who cares? It's a football game. No one can hear anything. Mics aren't picking it up. So, no, Jalen Carter did not get tossed. He had a great game. Matter of fact, he gave one of his chains to Rigo Blankenship. Amen, Gardner Johnson. Anyway, what do we learn? We'll talk about that in the NFL week recap. The lessons learned. I do like the summary articles. Would you read, like, what did we learn yesterday in the NFL? And I like when they act like we should have known, like they know. No. The Saints aren't superhuman. Like, no, Derek Carr's not the best. Okay, well, you guys are the ones saying that for the last 2 weeks. I will say this: the Saints. I still think the Saints will be fine, but it was odd to see them not be able to adjust at all. Fangio just put one extra guy on the defensive line. He put a 5-man front, and the Saints did no idea what to do. All of a sudden, Shanahan's kid is like, "What the fuck is this? A 5th offensive lineman? All right, let's just keep running into it." That's not working. All right, run into it again. So anyway, all right, let's move on. I'll talk about the rest of the games a little later, but let's get into this doubleheader here. We got a Monday night doubleheader, and that's starting tonight. And that first game is Jacksonville Buffalo. The line is, what is it line at now? Is it a 5.5? Let me take a look. Jacksonville in Buffalo. Now this might be my last ride. It's 4.5 now. So Jacksonville money's coming in. Total 46.5. And I agree with this move. I like the Jaguars tonight. Now what we won. Bet Online's got 4.5, but you can still see 5.5. Shop around, as they like to say. I'll take the 5.5. I'll even take the money line. Now, if you saw, all the 0-2 teams did great, and I'm going with 2 more 0-2 teams tonight. This might be my last hurrah with Jacksonville. I was a little high on Jacksonville coming into the season, and I might be wrong. They should have won that Miami game, but they did not, and they looked awful last week versus Cleveland. Buffalo looks great, but I think they're a little bit of fool's gold myself. I don't know. This just seems a weird game. Why isn't this line over a touchdown? Why isn't Buffalo favored by 8? Why aren't they going to blow the doors off the Jags? I think Jacksonville comes in a little desperate. I think a little bit. I don't know. All those 0-2 teams versus 2-0 is actually tougher. It's usually versus a 1-1 team like Cincy, Washington. But like yesterday, the 0-2 teams, you had your Giants, you had your Denver, you had your Carolina, you had your Colts, and your Titans, who it was a loss, but you know what I mean. So we're gonna take Jacksonville plus 5.5 or 4.5. I'll take the. I'll give out 4.5. Bomb it. And I got a couple ladders for it, or a couple prop plays at least. Here's a couple prop plays I like. First, I think this is the reason why I like Jacksonville. Buffalo's offense is a little different now. I mean, Josh Allen is on an MVP campaign, and he'd be my pick right now for MVP. It's mainly because it's all by himself. He has no receivers. Dalton Kincaid's not doing anything either, but they are running the ball well. I don't think they're going to run the ball as well versus Jacksonville. Jacksonville actually can stop the run. Although, so could the Titans, and then look what happened to them. Packers ran all over them. Point is, I think Jacksonville's going to throw the ball deep too. But on the Buffalo side, I like James Cook, who had a huge game versus Miami. They've had like 10 days off. Now you're going to say it's a mini bye. I think it's going to be more a Russ situation because they played last time they played on Thursday. Now they're playing on Monday. So it's like 10 days. I'll take his over 18.5 receiving though. They like working him in receiving. He would have flown over. He had 19 versus Miami, but if they weren't blowing him out so much, they would have had more. So give me over 18.5, James Cook. That's the one Buffalo prop I like. Now let's get to the Jags props I like. This is where I want my value at. I'm going to focus on one guy tonight. 2 guys. Well, one's just a fun one. Josh Hines Allen. The other Josh Allen. The good Josh Allen. No, they're both Josh. Both Josh Allens are great. I think he gets a sack today. Now, I have Tavon Walker, Defensive Player of the Year, 100-1. He's like even money to get a sack. I'm not going for that, even though I want him to. But Josh Hines Allen, and the edge rusher, he's plus 165 to get a sack. And he has a personal Josh Allen on Josh Allen hate. And you can just see the announcers saying it. Oh, the other Josh Allen, who was actually drafted ahead of the real Josh Allen. Did he change his name because of the other Josh Allen? Sure, maybe. And he always does get to, because he has a personal vendetta against him. He had to fucking add his name Hines in there because of this jerk. It's like the Michael Bolton from Office Space. Like, yeah, it was a fine name. I was Josh Allen my whole life. I was fine. There's some fucking quarterback from North Dakota came out of nowhere, wherever the hell he came from. Now I have to change my name. So Josh Hines Allen, plus 165 to get a sack. How do you not like that? What's he need for 2 sacks? Let me take a look. Because he does always get to them. Good point. Plus 600 for 2 sacks. It's not a bad little step ladder. I'll take that. It's a little step ladder. Now comes one of my favorite of the night. So I have Josh Hines Allen, sack, plus 180, 2 sacks, plus 60. James Cook over receiving yards. Jacksonville plus the points. Now my real ladder that I'm going to rock with here is Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk has not been doing well so far in the first 2 games. He is their best receiver. He's the number 1. I know Brian Thomas had a nice game last week, and he's their rookie. That's great. They've got rid of Hopkins and Ridley. They wanted more speed to go vertical downfields. But Christian Kirk, when he's healthy, he's a volume machine. And they've talked about it all week at practice and in the press, how they have to get Kirk involved. Trevor Lawrence said that. He's their number one guy. So because of that, you have low numbers of how he's performing. His over-under is 46.5 receiving yards. And his receptions, let me see what his receptions. I think it's 3.5. Yeah, 3.5 receptions. I like over 3.5, and I like over 46.5. Now let's rock the ladder. First of all, and he's 18-1 for first touchdown. What? The number one receiver for Trevor Lawrence, 18-1. Bomb that. Plus 260 for an anytime touchdown as well. I'm all in on Christian Kirk tonight. Now his receptions ladder, 3.5 is minus 150. All right, 4.5 is even money. Oh, it just came down. 7.5, 8 catches was 6-1. Now it's plus 450. But that's not what I'm going with. That's good. I like take all his receptions. He'll get 8 catches tonight. Well, I'm not guaranteeing that, but you got to love that. 8 catches plus 450. That's on Bet Online. But the Christian Kirk ladder, this is crazy. You can run this ladder up. 70 yards is plus 200. 68 yards is 3-1. 86 yards plus 470. Look at this Christian Kirk ladder. We can get him 100 yards, right? 105 yards. That's plus 1170. Bomb it. And now if you want to get that Jack and the Beanstalk ladder, get up there, where the drones are flying by your head. 116 yards for Christian Kirk, which you can do. And the game script might play this way as well, because Jacksonville will be trailing. Plus 1950 for 116 yards for Christian Kirk. Come on. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Now, he's not the fucking deep threat that Brian Thomas is. He's more of an 8 for 80 kind of a guy, but he will have volume, and he can break a few. And this is a different kind of vertical offense they can run here. Give me this desperate 0-2 Jaguar team. Give me Christian Kirk, an undervalued number one. Anytime touchdown, first touchdown. Ladder that thing up. Let me give you a little ladder noise. I am the laddie daddy. I've been hitting ladders all year, all season. Although yesterday I kind of bombed out on a few of them. But that's not the point. Point is we get right back in it. Give me that Christian Kirk ladder. All right. Let me tell you real quick about Underdog Fantasy, and then we'll come back. We'll talk about that second game and why that's so important for the man in the box and the road to 10 million. How about that for a tease? But Underdog Fantasy Pick'em is always adding to the awesome menu. They now have first touchdown projections. There's a ton of ways of winning the NFL, college football, MLB, MMA, and more. The lobby is jam-packed with profit boosts and no sweat entries. You can now use special boosts on all flexed entries. I'm going with, of course, Christian Kirk. Sign up with promo code BOMBS to claim your special pick and first-time deposit. Offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code BOMBS. All right, we are back here on the Bottom Line Bomb. Should I give you an Underdog Fantasy? Well, maybe we'll put together an Underdog Fantasy. But it'll involve Christian Kirk higher. It'll give it James Cook higher receiving. There it is. There's a lock those in. I mean, how does that not hit? And juice up with a little Josh Hines Allen sack. Come on, let's go. Is right, E-Barbo. Let's go. We're going to hit this. All right, now we got game number 2. So, like I said, I like Jacksonville, the 0-2 team. Now we got an 0-2 Bengals team hosting the 1-1 Commanders. The Bengals are a different kind of 0-2 team. The Bengals love going 0-2, though. The Bengals are very comfortable being 0-2. It's what they prefer. And then they go on a run and make the playoffs, unless Burrow gets hurt. Now, this is my survivor pick for tonight. I gave out on Thursday for the road to 10 million that we've been talking about. Let me give an update on that. And this is why it's important. I'm a little nervous. I was going to go with the Jets, but we're with we are with Cincinnati. They are 7.5 point favorites, I believe. Total's 46. Now, yesterday was a bloodbath again for Survivor. The road to 10 million, it's narrow, but it's thinning out. There's getting less traffic on this road to 10 million. I'll say this. If you recall, the Circa contest, the Circa Survivor contest, this is where the road to 10 million is all going to. Started off with 14,200 entries. So there's 14 million on the line, basically. In the first 2 weeks, 70% of it got wiped out, including a couple of my entries. That's why we're down to one entry. Yesterday, with Cleveland losing, Tampa Bay losing, the Raiders losing, Niners losing, Titans losing. People had the Titans as well. I did too, but not in Survivor. Who else? It's basically it. Couple Saints, couple no entries, couple Bears, just for a couple jokers out there with the Bears. Come on. But let's say what happened. We had 930 on the Browns, 6 and 7. But point is, we're down to 1,600 entries left in the Survivor out of 14,000. 14,000 down to 1,600 in 2.5 weeks. We're not even finished the third week. I say that because there are 988 on the Bengals along with me. I'm one of the 988. So if they lose tonight, then it'll be down to 600. But nobody wants that. Come on. Let's get this road to 10 million. Let's get this. Can they possibly lose? Joe Burrow and your damn hair. Can you possibly lose this game to Jaden Daniels? Yes, they can. Of course, anything can happen. But would the Bengals be that much of a jerks and knock everyone out of the Survivor 2 out of 3 weeks? I don't think so. I hope not. So we're on it. I'm also going to lay to 7.5. I love Cincinnati tonight. I think they're going to crush Washington. Washington's not good. They got a miracle win versus the Giants last week. They can't. Their defense is horrendous. Higgins is coming back for Cincinnati. They're getting right. Now, here's a couple plays. Now, I'm going to lay to 7.5 with Cincinnati. Bomb that. I think they win this game going away. I see this as a 38-7, 38-10 kind of game. Although they do have defensive line injuries. I will give them that. So that's where it's kind of making it risky. I think Washington be able to run the ball on them. Daniels may be able to run. But I think Zach Moss has a monster game today. One of my favorite props is Zach Moss. Let's see what his is. First of all, his carries. You got to love. Because it's going to be game script. Cincinnati should be up, and they should be running the ball a lot. 11.5 is his carry prop. Hit that over. Zach Moss has a 75% run share. Everyone wants Chase Brown to be a thing. I mean, and he's a great speed guy, but he's not a reliable running back. He has no vision. He doesn't block. He's just a pure Forrest Gump straight ahead runner. Zach Moss is an actual NFL running back. He's going to eat tonight. So hammer that over 11.5 carries. You can ladder that up to, I mean, if you want to do some plus money, I'd even start a plus money at 15.5 plus 150. I mean, he's going to get it. No doubt. If he stays healthy with the game script out there, he will get it. But his yards is 42.5. Or what are we talking about here? Devin Singletary last week, who has playing well, he had 90 and a touchdown versus Washington. And that was a tight nip game. This one's not. Let's see what Zach Moss's rushing yards. This is one we might ladder this one. Oh, my God. Are we kidding me? He's at 40.5. 40.5 is his total? We're bombing the carries. We're bombing the yards for Zach Moss. And let's just jump a few rungs of the ladder. Let's get right to the top of the fridge. Get the peanut butter. 90 yards is 3-1. 100 yards is plus 420. Let's just do that. Bang. Zach Moss, 100 yards today, plus 420. Bang it. You could keep going all the way to the top. Jack and the Beanstalk's 130. That's a bit ambitious. Zach Moss isn't a 130-yard kind of guy, but he can get you 100 plus 420 if you want to get out to it. I'll take it. But more importantly, let's get it. Road to 10 million. Bingo, bango. We need this Bengals win. And then the more Road to 10 Million content. I filmed the whole thing for Road to 10 Million last week, and I didn't get to the editing room in time. There's so much stuff. I need assistance. Everyone's telling me I need assistance. I need a lot of things. Hell, I need a producer. I need a salary. I need a lot of things. But they're not all coming in to us anyway. All right. All right, let's do some NFL recapping. Let's go. Let's look at the snow. Like I said, all right, we went 4-1 in the contest millions. Now, what happened? We had a horrible first 2 weeks, and we had our eyes on the booby prize. Like, let's try to pick some losers. So we picked some of the worst teams, and then, bing, we went 4-1. That's what happens. I didn't try to pick losers, but we did pick bad teams on purpose. But they were all 0-2 teams, and they all fucking hit. Not only did they cover, they won outright, including.
How about them Giants, baby? Huh? You bet your ass.
The New York Giants open up with an outright win versus Cleveland Browns. What in the hell is going on with the Cleveland Browns? How do you not show up at home versus the Giants? I mean, I loved it. We had Giants plus 6.5. The biggest win for Survivor for us, knocking out almost 1,000 entries who had the Browns. Malik Neighbors, another monster game. We have Malik Neighbors to lead the league in receptions at 75-1. He's currently second. A catch behind Rashee Rice. Are we kidding me? Let's go.
How about them Giants, baby? Huh? You bet your ass.
Daniel Jones. I don't know what they have to do. I don't know what the Browns have to do with Deshaun Watson. How can they get rid of him? And I said, maybe this is it. Once you lose at home to Daniel Jones, to Danny Dimes, maybe that will even trump 27 sexual assaults. Maybe that's enough to void a contract. No union is that strong where you can hold up at losing at home to Daniel Jones like that. Getting embarrassed. They gifted them the opening kickoff fumble, touchdown, 7-0. And then the Browns did nothing. It was crazy. Good for them. Antonio Brown tweeted out that they gotta get Watson involved with P. Diddy somehow. So maybe get him involved in that case. You know, you're gonna have to set him up. They tried to do it a couple weeks ago. This new accusation, no one cared. 27 accusations, no one gives a shit. It's what he does. He's basically the P. Diddy of fucking quarterback. He's basically Daniel. Someone said that. He's Daniel Jones with the P. Diddy complex or whatever. Anyway, so that happened. Who knows what's going on with the Browns and coming forward, but we'll take that Giants win. What was the other terrible team we won with? Oh, Denver over Tampa Bay. That just seemed like a lock. I don't know why. That game just made absolutely no sense. We're like, Denver is just going to beat Tampa Bay. What's your analysis? I have none. I have no analysis for that. No, I did. Tampa Bay was injured. They were playing a little over their heads there. They were lucky versus Detroit, and they were up Washington. Bo Nix. Wow. John Payne just comes through in week 3 for some reason. So that was a big win. I mean, for Tampa, only have 7 points. That's crazy. But Baker does that every year, though, too. As soon as you believe in Baker, that's when he lets you down. So we got that. Welcome to the chat room, Lane Gretzky, who said, CJ, my guy, what's good? Arbo says, it was bad Baker. Yes, it certainly was. That's what I mean. Baker does this, and then he gives you bad Baker, and then you know immediately, oh, this is not going to work out. And the other one was Carolina Vegas. That was the third one we hit. So we hit the money. We even hit the money lines. We had Giants plus 6.5 Bink. Denver plus 6.5 Bink. Carolina plus 5 Bink. Carolina, hilarious. CJ and Hizzy, welcome ML. That was great. How amazing was that? Andy Dalton. I mean, the reason why that was so great was because obviously they benched Bryce Young to put in Andy Dalton in. Andy Dalton came in, threw for 300 yards. 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. The only quarterback to do that so far this year. But all week long, ESPN, and I know I've seemed like I have personal campaigns against ESPN, but it's just because they have to fill content all the time. I don't even blame them. They just have to fill content all the time. Because it's 24 hours, so it's debate. They bent over backwards to say how it wasn't Bryce Young's fault. I don't know why. Why do they have to say that Bryce Young, it's not his fault because he's the number one, that he's a bust. They're before he had no problem calling someone a bust. Like, Ryan Leaf, you're a bust. That's it. Marinovich, you're terrible. You're going to be hooked on heroin the rest of your life, and we're going to keep reporting on you every time you get arrested. Keely Smith, you're awful. Jamarcus Russell, bust. But now it's like, oh, well, he didn't have the right mental coach. He didn't have a support system. He needed his own safe space. He needed enough talent surrounding him. Belichick even got in. Well, not Belichick. Saban did because he's his guy. Well, Saban, I can see that because he's his guy from Alabama. So Carolina, they fired 3 coaches. He had no chance. They fired 3 coaches because he was terrible. And they proved it by putting Andy Dalton in. Like, watch how normal this offense looks with Andy Dalton. And may I remind you guys, Andy Dalton's not good. I mean, he was always mediocre, but he's washed up. He's 37. He hasn't played in 2 years. He comes in and they immediately light it up, and they destroyed the Raiders. Just to prove that's how bad Bryce Young is. And the ESPN has nothing to say about that now. A lot of people in the chat room don't like the lines for tonight. Maybe you just missed my segment, Lane Gretzky, but we're on these Jaguars. He wants to know, is there fentanyl on the lines tonight, Bet Detective? Oh, right, because I sniff out the line. I sniff out the bad lines. You're damn right there's fentanyl on this line. It stinks. There's a bad line. I have to smell all those lines. Okay, what do they say about cocaine? I don't like cocaine. I just like the smell of it. Anyway, we're on the Jags tonight. So Carolina won outright, took out the Raiders. Antonio Pearce said that people were making business decisions. He's going to make one, whatever that means. That was an easy handicap. Antonio Pearce is not a good coach. They just had a huge upset at Baltimore. Of course they were going to fucking ridiculous. Moneyline Mills says, let's cash the Bengals in a survivor pick. You're damn right. Me and you. We're at the road to 10 million. I'm on these Bengals too, and everything has got cleared out for yesterday. All right, let me tell you one more ad read, and I'll talk about the other 2 bombs. Then we'll get some man in the boxes and a couple other of NFL things that happened in the situation. But first, I got to tell you about BetUS. We're brought to you by BetUS. Bet with the best in the business. BetUS. BetUS has been around for more than 30 years. Easily deposit using cryptocurrency and get lightning fast payouts. The bet I like tonight, Jacksonville plus 4.5. Support SGPN. Get yourself access to another great book by signing up at BetUS. Use our link to sign up and get 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com, BetUS. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com, BetUS. Promo code SGPN so they know we sent you. BetUS, America's favorite sports book. And, of course, we're brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm's gonna bet you. Rhythm's gonna bet you. Rhythm's gonna bet you with props. Props. SGPN's proud partner. Rhythm is #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds. Get predictions on betting, on money line, spreads, totals, and props. Build your own model. Copy one of the top performing models for the leaderboard or press. Building model for Rhythm. Gives you predictions for every game and player props. Also has a myriad of stats, research, and trend analysis to give you even more betting insights. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And we're back here on the Bottom Line Bombs. I'm your host, CJ Sullivan, the man in the box, the Bet Detective. Laddie Daddy, Scumbagger Vance, the Deli Llama, the Bombino. Rhythm, by the way, like Zach Moss, anytime touchdown tonight. I like that too. Why not? Toss that in there. I think that's a plus 120. But I'm on the Zach Moss carry over attempts ladder, over rushing yards. I love Zach Moss over tonight, over 40 yards and over 12 and a half carries. Anyway, so why not throw an anytime touchdown in there while we're at it? Also, thank you for watching on YouTube. Everyone in the comments, man, you know the deal. Hit the thumbs up button. Give us a review. Give me a review. Why do I say us? Me. It's just me, the man in the box. Give the Bottom Line Bombs a review. 5 stars, of course. Say you like it. Even if you don't, I don't care. But I know you do. A lot of my clips have been going out there. Not going out there. TikTok's picking up some clips, and now I got a lot of anonymous comments in there. They all say the same thing. They all say they'll call me the Tim Dillon of sports, which I don't care. Whatever. I like Tim Dillon. One guy said today, cross between Tim Dillon and the guy from that low budget mall security movie. I'm like, Paul Blart, Kevin James. Is that what you mean? That wasn't low budget. The fuck you talking about? Unless he meant something different. That was anything but low budget. The fact that you knew about it. Trust me, Kevin James' salary is big budget alone. People are great. Hey, you know what? Thanks for watching, and thanks for logging in. Logging out. All right. What did it say? So we hit those 3 dogs, all the underdog. What a season for underdogs. That's why it's been gross. Rams, big win. We didn't have that. I was thinking about putting them on there. What a great win. I love watching the Niners lose. And I love watching the Rams beat them. In LA, especially because that stadium gets flooded with Niner fans. And they were all over Los Angeles yesterday. Niner fans were everywhere. And Ram fans. And it is you're going to see 50 different fight highlights in there. It's like the fucking movie Training Day in there. Like they're like Dodger games. It is just stabbings and fightings and Jesus Christ. Stafford, the Rams. Fantastic win. We won Colts Bears. That was our 4th win. What a horrible game that was as well. It was weird. It was a weird game. I gave out DeAndre Swift ladder on the VSiN show. He had 20 yards on like 15 carries. What the fuck is wrong with DeAndre Swift? Against this Colts rush defense, I can't stop anybody. My God. Caleb Williams threw for 390 yards. What? On 60 attempts or something? What the hell happened in that game? But then they show a highlight and they're running sprint options and they're losing 15 yards of 4th down. Everyone wants Shane Walden fired now for in Chicago, the offensive coordinator. Listen, I was on this early. Eberflus, Walden, they shouldn't be there at all this year. But they're gonna have to suffer through this year. Go like 6-10 or 6-11, 7-10. And then bring in Ben Johnson from Detroit. Bring him over across the aisle. And that's your next decade. Detroit offensive coordinator Ben Johnson. You have him with Caleb Williams. That's your next decade. You're ready to run something. But yeah, they ran a sprint option. There's a picture where there's like 4 offensive linemen for the Bears that are just on the ground. Like, what is this? What are we doing? Luckily, Anthony Richardson was just as bad, throwing insane interceptions in the end zone. Anthony Richardson. What is going on there? I mean, it just didn't make no sense. And here's how you do get fired. You run option on 4th and 1 because that's the only thing fans can recognize as what is this? I don't know anything about modern football, but I know you don't do that. Yarbo says Richardson's going to get hurt. Flacco's going to do the same thing he did last year. Yeah, Flacco doesn't come in until after November, after Thanksgiving. That's when wake Flacco up. Matter of fact, if Richardson gets hurt, Flacco wouldn't even come in this early. Too early for me. I come in mid-November. That's my style. Richardson is not good. You saw it in the preseason. He is not accurate. But then when he is good, he is good. They are what they call boom or bust, feast or famine. Because they lead, like they're like 2nd in the league with yards like per play or shit, but then they get nothing. So a lot of yards in that game, no points. So, but we got the win because mainly we were fading the Bears. And Caleb Williams is, who knows what Caleb Williams is. Now they're saying, well, that line is too bad. And that line is awful. But I will say this, Bears fans, because there's a lot of comparisons. Do you miss Justin Fields now? And I don't know how Justin Fields threw for 80% yesterday. But I would still take Caleb Williams over Justin Fields. That 3-0 fraudulent Steeler team. Now, Steelers are good. Steelers have a good defense. Their schedule, I mean, whatever. They haven't played a good offense yet. Justin Herbert got hurt yesterday. Why did they have Justin Herbert out there? I mean, Jesus Christ, Harbaugh. He's like, I thought about benching him. Did you? Yeah, that's good. I'm glad you thought about it, Harbaugh. Did you think about it after he got hurt? Yeah, then I said, you know what? Probably shouldn't have risked his career like that. Me, Sean, and Kramer were talking. The Steelers are made for this season because the football's awful now. No more passing, no more everything, running defense. And now the Steelers just had his way to football came back to them. Steve Elridge, North Kakalaka, welcome to the chat. He says, Flacco, Michael Bublé. Holiday season purposes only. I like that. Flacco does have a crooner look to him, you know? I'll clean up your mess for your young whippersnapper quarterbacks and your advanced statistics. So we hit that. That was our fourth. Our only loss were the terrible Tennessee Titans. Will Levis, we have to learn our lesson. We just can't do it. I let Sean and Kramer talk me into Will Levis a lot in the offseason. And this freaking Titan Callahan, new Titan offense. You still have DeAndre Hopkins out there. Well, I like DeAndre Hopkins, but he's old. But Levis, I think Levis's career is just going to be this. He's just going to have a different meme each week, and that's going to be his role. And there's nothing wrong with that role, you know? Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls by being a meme quarterback because he would always have a weird, dumb look on his face out there when the helmet came off, like, brr, brr. So he would have some weird Eli picture. Levis has these works of art. Like he's in midair, throwing the ball behind him, like over his head, and like a fucking hit shot. And he's got like whoopsie daisy, like the ball goes straight up. Like he's just he puts himself in the most impossible physical positions on a football field for a quarterback at least, and they make great memes. So if you do that, if you're still relevant, call it the Kardashian style, whatever. If you're making good online content, that's enough sometimes. We'll keep you out there. Who's their backup? Mason Rudolph? I mean, he's no Andy Dalton. You put Mason Rudolph in there, that's not going to be like Andy Dalton coming in for the Carolina. At least I don't think. Anyway, we're officially off these Titans for a while. I think the Titans are favored next week in Miami on Monday night, which is pretty insane. Any other actual games we should talk about that I didn't play? Kansas City, I guess that was the big game at night. Chiefs did it again with no pass interference in the end zone. I don't know. I mean, it's just crazy. It's just like you just have to handicap that in there. Oh, yeah. They're going to get a blatant call go their way, and it's going to affect the game very much so. So you have to overcome that. And they didn't. The Falcons had a chance, not just the interference. They should have kicked the field goal because then they got the ball back. They could have kicked another field goal, but they didn't. You can look at the Chiefs a couple ways. They're not playing well, but they're still 3-0. So you can look at that and like, okay, yes, they're a little ready to come down back to earth, or they're going to get better because wait till the Chiefs figure it out, which they always do as the season goes on. So if you can't beat them now when they're not playing well, that's a problem.
Showtime Mahomes.
Good Lord. I never noticed how much Chris Collinsworth does slurp Mahomes, you know?
Showtime Mahomes.
There's a TikTok guy of a guy who impersonates Chris Collinsworth. Pretty funny how he just always shoehorns Mahomes in there. There was a play where Falcon defender came in, wrapped him up for a sack, and Mahomes like spun out and like threw the ball away, you know? But it was a great play by Letterman. He's like, what a play by Patrick Mahomes. I mean, what a play. He just got hit and threw the ball away. What a play.
Showtime Mahomes.
Oh, man. What else we had there? They had the Cowboys getting slaughtered. That was fun. They made a nice comeback for all you Dak Prescott fantasy owners. Now they're blaming Dallas for not signing Derrick Henry in the offseason. I like those instant handicap like that. Why don't you have him, Derrick Henry, the guy who's beating us? We could have signed him. And then Jerry Jones said, well, you ran up some credit card debt. You can't buy a mansion. Just like that. What the fuck? What? Okay. No, actually, it's because you paid $10 million to Trey Lance. Anyway, you don't have to get into that. Packers, too, by the way, in that Titans game. But not only are the Titans terrible, but the Packers might be good. I gave out Malik Will's first-time touchdown. Revenge game, even though that's why I didn't quite believe when he said there was no revenge. When he's like, they paid me, which I do kind of believe him. But maybe I don't believe him. I do believe, I don't believe. And anything else to bring up? Not really. That's all the games that mattered. Miami. I did have Miami. I didn't have in the contest pick, but I did on a side play. Good Lord, Miami. I thought there was a little too much value going on for the backup quarterback. Then Skyler got hurt. Now they're going, Tim Boyle is going to be the third string quarterback. We all remember how bad Boyle was. That's why Levis is a favorite on the road on Monday night next week. Anyway. So it wasn't a great NFL Sunday. I'll say that. The stats are bad. Field goals are still good. I think a couple people missed field goals on, they got word from above. The Vikings destroying Houston. What the hell is that? Jesus Christ, with these Vikings and Sam Darnold. Now we're like, coaching matters. Sam Darnold. That's what I love. The whole thing. Stop looking for the quarterback. Look for the coaching. Look at Sam Darnold. Look at Justin Fields. All right, what about Bryce Young? Well, he didn't have enough support. But Andy Dalton made it happen. That's not our narrative. That's all we're talking about. Point is, I like saying that. Point is, we got two big Monday nighters. I can't think about anything else but the road to 10 million. But let's go to the box. Thank you for everyone for joining us. Like I said, hit the thumbs up, 5-star reviews. Follow me on Instagram at CJ Sullivan was taken, _ in between every word there, or on X at CJ Sullivan _. Also on the TikTok, it's at CJ Sullivan, something like a dot. I'm not really sure how that works, but that's where people say low budget low budget mall security movies. Oh man, the Lord. This is where I go to the box. So many things we could talk about. It's elections here. I don't want to talk about the election. I'll talk about the local elections. That's what it's funny because I was watching. I said I was watching the one game. I can't do Chris Hansen anymore. I can't do the red zone. I can do the red zone, but it can't be a sound. There can now be no sound. I cannot take Chris Hansen anymore. And I said it week one when I watched it with non-gambling friends, or in week two, last week. People who like Chris Hansen. I didn't even know there was a thing that people liked Chris Hansen. Like, what? He's great. He's doing the Lord's work. Oh, my. The way he acts, like he gives us the action. Oh, wait till I show you what happened in Philly. The witching hour. Anyway. But I watch it on the setup where it has local commercials. So there's nothing better than regional local commercials. And I was watching the Cowboys-Ravens game on local, Dallas Fox, and they were just showing the political ads. It's Ted Cruz political ads where they're like, my opponent wants women to get the shit kicked out of them by men in soccer. They want men to beat the fuck out of women in sports. That's what you're voting for. Okay. All right. They lean right into that Outback fucking just good Lord talking point, scare tactic ballots. Although I'll say this, and I live in California, obviously very liberal, but a lot of Republican too. It's actually 60-40 blue, and 40 of California is a lot of people. I never understand the ballots here. They mail you the ballots. They mail you a pre-guide to the ballots and just go through all the propositions, and they don't. You never know what the fuck it is. Like Proposition 43, vote yes on this or vote no on this. And it's the same thing. Like, okay. And then there's 50 under subdivisions underneath it. I say this because, and I said this in the road to 10 million, but I got Uber recently around here, and like the booking fee was like 3 times the amount of the fare. The fare was $7, and the booking fee was like 15, so it was like $22 for like like not even a couple mile road. Like what the fuck? The fuck is this? So I emailed Uber. Usually, if you emailed Uber with some kind of complaint, they kind of was like, "All right, we'll refund you. We don't care. We make $1 billion." But now here they're like, "Nope, that's it. It's California laws. You voted for it." That's what they like telling you. You voted for it. You voted for these fees. I didn't vote for this fee. No, you didn't. Proposition 61. I thought that was to save some grandmother's life. It's always like some heart machine or something you have to vote for every year. And I never know if yes or no goes for it. Like, all right, vote no. Grandmother doesn't die. All right, fine. Grandmother doesn't die. All right, but you also got an Uber fee now. What? How are they related? They're not. That's the only way we get this Uber fee in there. But what the fuck? Can you split the difference? Can you get grandma to vote for these goddamn... Can you get grandma to pay the fee? I tell you what, how about this? I'll vote she can live if grandma pays my Uber fee. Then it's a deal. Then Gretzky says, Hansen has to be an alcoholic off the screen. It's just, what I don't like about Hansen, and I'll get into it real quick. It's just that not only does he act like he's bringing you the action and he's involved and he's talking over everything. Whoa, oh man, that's it. Gus Edwards for people in fantasy, they like that. Oh, and I'll bring you down to Jacksonville. Wait till you see in Jacksonville. Can we replay that, guys? I like when he asked the producers to rewind the action. Like he's at the game. Like he's at that part of the studio. You're not part of that studio, of the production of the game. You're in New York. You're like, you might as well be next to me on the fucking couch, yelling at the TV to rewind that. They don't hear you. Let's see if that's a fumble. Guys, can we rewind that? Oh, no one's listening to me? I'm just at a podium? Yeah, the box is hot, ML. You're damn right. I'm saving grandmother's lives. I'm paying Uber fees. I wouldn't be surprised if he's an alcoholic. You're right. I need to get to a dispensary. I need a new dispensary. That's my problem. There's a dispensary. There's one dispensary right by where I live in Hollywood. I don't like going there because it's too close to my place. They started pulling out the gummies and stuff that I like as soon as I walk in. I don't want employees to know what I order. I certainly don't want to talk about weed, and I certainly don't want to hey, your usual Mr. Sullivan. Oh, bet detective, here's your gummies. Put a little mystery in there. But I will say, at least they know what they're doing there. I don't mind that. Usually, if you go to a dispensary in Los Angeles, actually, I can actually say this about any store in Los Angeles. Any place in Los Angeles you go into, a place of business, it always seems like it's a front for something else. Like the real business is in the back, like a boiler room type situation. It also seems like the people working there have no idea what's going on. It's either their first day on the job or they just robbed the place and the real owners are tied up in the back. You know, like those movies like where someone robs a store and they tie up the owners and then they work behind the register and like deal with customers coming in like as they, wait. Like, oh, come on in. Sure. No, we got you. But they don't know how to ring things up. How much is this? What? I don't know. What's it say? $5? You know what? Just take it. We're good. Fine. No, you're good. Take it. I was trying to get rid of that thing anyway. I swear to God, I walked into a coffee shop yesterday. Not yesterday. I'm saying yesterday as like I'm doing a comedy routine. When the comics say that. The other day, what other day? 4.5 years ago when you wrote it? But it was like last week or so. I was on a walk with my friend Brady Novak and Nick Vatterott. Happy birthday, Nick Vatterott. We were on a walk. And this was the ultimate, and I've always been saying this about owners being tied up, but this case really looked like a fucking Tarantino movie or something, We walk in there. It's like 5 o'clock. This coffee shop in Hollywood. Guy's like sweeping glass. He's like, oh, well, no, we're about to close. But no, yeah, you can come on in. Come on in. Yeah, come on in. We walk in. We just wanted a coffee. So the kitchen's closed. All right, we don't want kitchen. We don't want any kitchen. We just want the coffee. Okay. Then a woman, we just wanted a coffee. Then there's a woman behind the counter. She goes, I was just going to unplug the machine. We're like, okay, well, can you not do that then? Is there a way you can just not unplug the machine and make a couple iced coffees? That's okay. The guy was like, yeah, no, of course. Yeah, honey, what are you talking about? Keep the machine plugged in and get these boys some coffees. And then, I swear to God, so he's sweeping up glass. The window was broken. They said it was a robbery or just a vandalism, I guess. He didn't say robbery, he said vandalism. And then there was 2 women sitting in the booth. One was like this hot, like model looking, but kind of like, Sid and Nancy with models and shit. Not Sid and Nancy, but whatever. She was there, like a younger, attractive woman, and then like a 65-year-old woman who wasn't saying anything was sitting across from her. So I could only think that she didn't say a word. I think the young girl had a gun on her underneath. She had to have. Because then she's like, yeah, they broke the music studio too down the street. I'm like, what? Oh yeah, they've been getting a lot of people. Everything looks shady. I'm like, what is real here? Is anything real? One person won't talk. One person's lying. The other one's sweeping up glass. The other one's talking about unplugging machines. We just wanted a fucking iced coffee. A lot of thieves. Lemonade. ML says Lemonade and Van Nuys has wild deals on Thursday. Great deal. $12. That's another sponsor. Wilds are great gummies. Tell you that. So if you're out in Van Nuys, everybody, Wilds, buy 2, get 1. They sell shrooms in Ventura Boulevard and Sherman Oaks. Microdose gang. I was talking about microdosing the other night on my other podcast, The Blackout Diaries, which if you're not subscribed to, you should. It's a comedy, drinking story, and drug story podcast I do with my buddy Sean Flannery, comic in Chicago, great comic. We had the great Colby Dan on our last episode. We had a college football episode. We had Pix Dundee telling the story about kicking out of the Rose Bowl. It's great. So subscribe to that, The Blackout Diaries. But we also just did a hallucinogenic episode. We're talking about microdosing. Microdosing is interesting because one, it's such an adult thing, like to say, "Oh, I microdose. I just do it at work." You're doing drugs. I don't know how to microdose anything, by the way. Unless you had the drugs, I'm going to find you. It is weird though. One time I microdosed with LSD, and you're like, you see traces on lights, but you also know that it's not real. You're like, oh, that was something. That was good. That's not real. I got you. That was good. All right. Tip of the cap to you, LSD. That was very clever of you to have that flower melt like that. But I'm on to you. Microdosing. Ridiculous. What's such an adult fucking thing to do? You have to have a guide and I go on a work retreat and go to some compound and some guide who gets $100,000 a year to talk you through it and give you a sound bath and bring you through a journey. I just miss the days when you give me the drugs, you get the fuck away from me, I freak out, and then I come back, and you go to work the next day. That's what you do. What, I got to talk about? I don't want to talk about anything. I just want to freak out. What am I talking about? Man in the box. All right, that should do it for today. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. I went all over the place. I was talking about dispensaries. I'm promoting dispensaries. We had a good 4-1 week for the bombs, but the more important, let's get this road to 10 million, right? See, generates tonight, Bengals. We need it. We need to get that win. Moneyline Mills is with me. It's his survivor pick. We love it. Other than that, That's going to do it for today. Like I said, give me a 5-star review. Tell 50,000 of your friends. Get some word of mouth about the man in the box. I need to go out. If I want to start attacking ESPN, people are going to keep calling me the goddamn Tim Dillon of fucking sports. I'm going to need my degenerate army to back me up. So do some reviews and stars. After this, I'm recording a Patreon episode, actually, with Sean and Ryan for my part 2. That's how good my first part 1 was. And then, I don't know what else we're doing. Anyway, let's just get these Monday night games. Let's go. Let's go. Let's get out of here. Let's do it. Road to 10 million, and then it's down to 1,600. I feel good. Vibes are good. Vibes are good. Let's do it. Bomb it.